I haven't done many videos this week because it's just gone from bad to worse. It's now Thursday and I've given up. I'm having a long weekend. I might do the winch bumper when it comes, but that's about it, so we can get that job done. Just a quickie, what went wrong. It started off by simply changing the oil on my Yaris, which ended up being discovering that the front cross member, or whatever you call it, like the cradle that holds all the suspension on, rotten as a pear, which needs replacing. Didn't really fancy doing that, but by gum, once rust's in a car, you know, really rust proof it well, boys, when you get a new vehicle or a new chassis. So that's another job to do. Then, remember the gearbox, the LT77 I was doing? Well, I ordered all the parts and they came yesterday. And I was putting a video, opening the box and doing this and doing that, and I stripped the main shaft. I kept the main shaft complete until I got the new shaft, so I wasn't getting all the bits mixed up. And it was the wrong shaft. I got a shaft for a suffix G, and it's actually a 200 TDI gearbox, which I couldn't even recognise, because remember the number was missing. But I never twigged it was a 200 TDI. Until you strip it down and you see the double synchros on first and second. Bummer. So I just paid like 200 quid plus shipping for a load of bits that I don't really need. And now I've got to spend the same again on another shaft and shipping. So I'm a bit pissed off with it. So what's this video about? Something to cheer us up. Well, we're back onto this 300 TDI. It's over in the corner now for the simple reason Deborah and I cleaned the floor off the other day. Oh boy, was it mucky. So we've got it all cleaned up and it's on the movable frame. So what I bought, what I was confused about was that we've decided to put some new pistons in this, just standard pistons, some good quality ones. But I want to double check, or triple check, the cylinder sizes, and just make sure I was right in my calculations. It is within spec, but just. Now where's my piece of paper? Oh, if you can hear a gurgling in the background, it's a nice hot sunny day and my solar hot water is working today, but I've got air in the pipe. I've got to get the air out. I've got to go on the roof. It says here, maximum bore wear, you can see it there, it says maximum bore wear 0.177 of a millimetre. Alright. Now, I've been using this little kid here, which is just an internal micrometer, not wholly suitable for this job, and I'm coming to why it was in a minute. The other day, thanks to patrons and subscribers, I did get myself a, what do they call them? Mitutoyo. I got it all the wrong way around. This was kind of expensive, so thank you to everybody, and it is a great piece of kit. And what I was doing was, instead of reading off the scale off this, because it's in inches, I was opening up the gauge and measuring between the pins once adjusted. All right, that was okay, and I was pretty okay on that. But again, thanks to Patreons, I decided to get myself a proper measuring device for bores. Right now, it was kind of expensive, but it was kind of rubbish at the same time, because I have to be careful with all this stuff. It comes with a range of pieces in a box, which is nice to get different bore wears. I think it goes up to 6 inches. But the original gauge on it was absolute crap. It sticks. You can push it up, push it. It's so jumpy. You know, it's absolute rubbish. So fortunately, I found out that my digital gauge it works in the same way. Now it works, it's kind of simple really. It's got two spring-loaded wheels on here, just to keep this in line. And there's a little pin here, and when you push it, you'll see the measurement change. All right, that works out really well. So, yeah, I was a bit disappointed with the gauge, but with this, I can switch it. I can instantly zero it, and also I can change it to inches and metric, so we can go by the book. That's pretty good. So again, thank you for that. So what I did was, I'll put this over on the bench. What I did was, I measured all the bores. I measured them at the top, I measured them at the bottom, and at the bottom all were the same, because the piston doesn't really come right down to the bottom of the bore, if you see what I mean. The rings, should I say, they don't go right down to the bottom. So that's a good place where we can take a measurement off, and they were all the same. So I set that to 0 at the bottom and came up and found out what the measurement was. I'll shout them out to you because I wrote them on the top. Oops, there goes my Toyota, or whatever it's called. Right, so the first cylinder, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. The first cylinder was 0.16, and I was right, you know, we're allowed what did I say, 0.177. Let me see. Yeah, 0.177, and this came in at 0.16, 0.14 for number 2, 0.11 for number 3, and 0.08 for number 4. So it's progressively getting worse, if you see what I mean. But it's getting worse and then progressively getting better, if you get my drift. So what I did then, I'll show you. I'll turn the camera off and I'll show you. So what I did then, I put a brand new ring in the widest cylinder, and with a piston I just tapped it down so it was nice and square, and then I measured the gap using these very, very old feeler gauges that you can't read the numbers on anymore. But with a caliper or a micrometer, you can read it, and the gap is 0.58. Now, that's 0.58 of a millimetre. Fitted gaps of rings in bores 0.4 to 0.65, so we're okay. That's what I'm saying, we're in the limits of that, so that's kind of interesting, isn't it? And the rest obviously get progressively smaller. That's why when I checked the back one, it was, I can't remember, I think I measured in thousandths of an inch. It was 0.8 thou, I think, or 9 thou, I think it was. But it's going to work because, I'm all sort of confusing myself. It's going to work with standard pistons and standard rings, should I say. So what we've decided to do was put a set of OEM pistons in and leave it at that. And that's all we can do. We can't do any more. Now, going over to the head, which is over there, I put the new valve guides in, but they were still loose. Watch what happened. The valve stems were worn. I've never seen that in a TDI. The valve guides are usually like sacrificial because they're like a cast iron, and so that actually cast iron acts as a self-lubricant, and it doesn't usually wear the guides, the stems, should I say. So when I measure the stem here at the top, it's 0.95 of a, well, yeah, wait a minute, I'll see if I can get it. 7.95, if I can get it right there. Oh, it's tricky because I keep moving the valve. 7.95 at the top, just under where the collets go in, so that bit doesn't get worn, if you see what I mean. But further down, 7.92. It's smaller at the bottom, so when you had the valve in the head, it was rocking like this, you know, so that was no good. So I did have some second-hand valves, so I put those in, and it's a lot better. So I've got to whip off down to the machine shop, not JP, my engine machine shop, and get the faces cut on and the seats, and that should make that head all better again. A little bit more work, but not really expensive, cheaper than getting another head. So that's where we stand. That's where we stand. So it looks like I'm going to have to go on the roof, otherwise I'm going to go mental with all that bubbling going on. And we'll talk to you later. But just to show you that the tools and techniques to measure a bore, it's okay, but they do get expensive for one-off jobs. So sometimes, if you're uncertain about an engine block, pop it down the machine shop. If this was mine, I wouldn't hesitate to bore it. But we're sort of on a very tight budget, and we haven't got a bottomless pit of money to work with. So this will get it going for another few 100,000 kilometres. So that's good. But like I say, the price of putting a rebuilt engine in is going to be too high. So that's what we're going to do. So you can restore things, and we're going to tell you what we're going to do when the new pistons come. We're going to do the same test with diesel in. So we're going to fit the pistons into the bores, and then just put some diesel in and see what happens. So that could be interesting. You'll have to remind me on, I'll probably forget. See ya.